someone who wants to be extra lovey-dovey today. So, to be fair, I know that a lot of my lack of success has to do with a lack of consistency, because that's such an important part of succeeding, I would assume, if I actually wanted to be a successful bop. Such a weird word. I don't know. I don't actually like calling it that, but I mean, that's the name, I guess, and people will know what I mean. But yeah, lack of consistency. That's on me. I know that. I know that that is something that could be the make or break as to why I failed, probably is, and something that I've just struggled with. But I think a lot of that has to do with just where my mindset has been, because even if I haven't actually been in it in actuality, my headspace has still been in survival mode for years. Like, I don't know how to turn it off, and I've spent so much of my life legitimately in survival. And I have been a survival sex worker, and in a way it's like I still am, maybe not because my needs aren't met, or I'm not able to take care of myself, but just because my brain, my mindset never got away from survival mode. I haven't figured out how to not be constantly looking over my shoulder and just feeling like the other shoe's about to drop, because I'm so used to, even when things do get a little bit better, in the past it hasn't lasted, or something worse has come around the corner. And so there's just like this inability to just breathe and relax. And because of that, it's just like my frontal lobe is just constantly malfunctioning and not working properly, and I'm doing stupid things and I'm making stupid mistakes that seem so unlike me, and I'm too smart for this, why am I doing this? But it's like I can't get out of that survival headspace. And I was gonna say mindset or headspace, and then I said headset. And yeah, and then it just kind of shuts down my productivity. I'm not able to focus, and it's not like I don't try. I sit down and I try, but there's a certain level of creativity that's needed to be successful on posts and things that I want to create. Like, I want creativity to be a big part of my content, and it's really hard to turn on creative mode when you're still stuck in survival mode. And I haven't been able to figure out how to transition out, because even though I've gotten to a place of stability, more or less, I have no safety net. I haven't been able to also build a safety net, and life has taught me how quickly the rug can get pulled out from under you if you don't have that. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to talk a little bit about consistency and acknowledge that that is an area of major weakness for me, and has been. But also talk about what's starting to work. And that has been indulging in my yoga practice, which was something I always wanted to do in person, but I felt like there were barriers to entry. I felt like most of the studios were too costly. They weren't something that was in my budget. I feel guilty for spending money on something like that that's seen as like not a necessity, and that it's just like a pure luxury. And I also didn't feel welcome in those spaces. The spaces tended to be dominated more by white women, and I used to feel like I really wasn't welcome. Even where I am practicing now, when I first started coming, I noticed that I was not willing to even do poses to the full extent of my capability when we were doing the asanas. I kept holding back because I already knew and know that I'm a little bit more flexible than the average person. And I guess I have like a history of being seen as like showing off when I go do things that I'm new at. So kinesthetics is like, that's my strong suit. Always has been. Everybody has things that they're good at and things that they're not great at. For me, huge weakness, communication. If you can't tell, I suck. I suck at communication across the board. And that's like a hugely valuable thing in life that you really need to have to succeed. I have learned it's almost not what you know, but who you know. Like, so communication, sucking in that, like, it's not like I don't have my weaknesses, but I found that when I let my strengths show, it's led to problems in the past. In particular, anytime I've taken up any sort of physical activity or sport, I usually take to it really quickly and easily. And it's just, I don't know, it just comes easily, it comes naturally. Like I'm really good at proprioception, your understanding of your body and space. And like spatial awareness. And typically, my past experiences is if I've been doing something where there were a lot of women, in particular, that there would be negative consequences. If I let myself be good from the very beginning as like a brand new person or like a newbie to whatever it is, and I let myself actually be naturally talented and good, I tended to get bullied a lot by women. Men would be impressed and they'd be like, oh yeah, that's so cool, and maybe they'd hit on me or whatever, but they would be fun about it, generally speaking, and then generally speaking, the women would get really nasty. And so, like, when I first started taking these yoga classes, I felt like I had to shrink. I just noticed that I was unintentionally making myself small. And that's something I've had to work on is like, I don't even know that the women here have that mindset. Just because that's something I experienced in the past doesn't mean I should project it on to my present. And that's what I've been doing with the whole survival mode thing. It's like I've been in survival mode so much of my past that I'm projecting it on to the present when maybe it's not here and it doesn't need to be. And then it causes this huge loss of productivity that negatively affects my life, makes everything worse, makes my circumstances worse, sends me into panic mode, and then it's just a downward spiral, and it's a negative circular pattern that I'm trying to break. And recently, I think actually indulging in things like my yoga practice are helping me break that cycle. Things that I have in the past have said are too frivolous, and that I felt like I'm not allowed to spend money on myself to go do that. I'm not allowed to take the time to go do that when there are all these other more important things that desperately need done. And all these other responsibilities and things, a lot of them for other people too, that I have to do. And so I kept telling myself that just, it's going to have to wait. It's going to have to wait. It's going to have to wait. And ended up, not being very functional. And now that I am taking the classes and I'm showing up and I'm making it a part of my everyday and I'm going in with intention and I'm using it honestly, it's like it's just such a wonderful thing because it's a great way to get physically active when it's very easy to let that fall to the side to because you got to work first. And it's a great way to maintain a meditation practice. But it's also a great way to socialize and meet other people, which has been really, really helpful because I'm still relatively new to this neighborhood. So I'm still building up a local friend base. I have lots of great, amazing friends, but they all live far away. I keep moving. And so my friends are spread all out. And so it's been really nice to start making friends nearby. And I'm actually hoping that this is going to really help me do better moving forward. But yeah, in this diary of a failed bop, I am perfectly aware that my lack of consistency is a big part of why I have failed. But I'm gonna keep trying. And even though this is a diary of a failed bop, because I have failed many times, many, many times, I'm going to keep trying in part because it's out there. I can't take it back. I did what I did. I knew what I was doing, and I knew once it's on the internet, it's on the internet for life. I can't undo it. So all the consequences that are going to come from this, all of the future doors that might be closed to me, all of the future ramifications of when it's going to be thrown back in my face, because I am sure it will, and in some ways it already has. All of those ramifications and consequences, I have to deal with no matter what. And so the stubborn part of me is like, I want to keep trying to make it a success, and to at least make some money off of it like I wanted to, and also make the kind of content that I wanted to, because I really want to make the kind of content I would like to consume, that is just, more authentic and a bit more on the sensual side, getting away from a lot of the rougher, just more hardcore elements that aren't me. Although some of the things I like, other people would consider to be hardcore. So that's like a whole nother topic for another day. But yeah, I still want to try because I know that I haven't been consistent solidly, steadily for like at least a year straight. Like I've had some good chunks, mind you. I've had some good, really good chunks of time where I was consistent, but not for just like a solid year straight on every platform and all the things. And also I was learning everything cuz I didn't have any prior existing social media knowledge. So there's been a lot of learning curves to overcome and just sort of stacking one social media and the next and the next. Now I actually feel like I have a base understanding, so it's just like there's nothing stopping me, or there shouldn't be anything stopping me. Um, but I almost need to like know that I really gave it my 100% and still failed before I'm gonna call it quits. And I just don't think I have given a full 100% yet, so I'm gonna keep going. And we're gonna see how important is consistency. Also, I know it doesn't look like it, but I am actually wearing shorts. Horrible lighting situation with the backlighting, but it felt spontaneous, so I did it anyways. But yeah, it might not look like it, but like I am clothed.